Hello and welcome to Digging the Coast 365. We're in Southend-On-Sea. Now, my first impressions, I like it. I like this place. It's alright. Speaking to people, they say a lot of drugs there, watch out for needles on the beach, make sure you wear gloves, etc, etc. I've just been in the toilet and I saw this sign. Now, I've never seen that sign in a toilet before. Basically, a special little compartment to put your needles. That's like inviting people to come into your toilet, take drugs, inject yourself, but make sure you put your needle in this little special place. That's a bit wrong. So it's obviously a very big drug place and not very cool. Okay, my first signal of the day. It's out. I have heard... Oh, it's a bottle top. It's a bottle top. I've heard a lot of stories about there's a lot of melted aluminium on this coast as well. I can't wait to get off this east coast. I really can't. I'll be on the south coast pretty soon, really, in about 3 weeks, 2 weeks, and we'll get away from it. But it's not molten aluminium, melted aluminium. It's a bottle top. So the first place I need to tell you about is the pier, because this is what Southend is famous for, its pier. If you look behind me, can you see the pier? It is huge. It is the longest pleasure pier in the world. One thing I really had to mention today is the new English £5 coins. Here is one of the old ones, just to show you what they look like. But they've decided, they've invented one which lasts 2.5 times longer and it's far more secure. So they've done away with that. In, I think it's March of next year, you can't spend them. They're just going to be disappeared forever. And we're going to all have these. Look at this. The brand new £5 note. It is beautiful. It's 15% smaller. It's made out of some kind of plastic, so it scrunches up easier. It doesn't get damaged as easily. But I want to show you a few features of this because it is very, very cleverly made. Okay, so you've got the Queen there, and I presume that's Big Ben. Hang on. And that's see-through. Okay. Now, there's a little line around the Queen's head. I can't show you, it's not... Yeah, there you go. The bit around the Queen's head, or, sorry, the purple bit here around Big Ben, or the Houses of Parliament, I can't see what it is. It's purple at the moment, but it does turn, I think it's green in certain lights or something. I'm not entirely sure. You've got... What else have you got? You've got Winston Churchill on the back, the greatest man who ever lived. The £5 note there is glow in the dark. That's very special as well. It's all security, different security things. Two features on the note is on one side, the Big Ben there. I think it's Big Ben or Houses of Parliament. I can't see it, sorry. I can't see it very well in my camera. It's gold on that side, but when you turn it over, it's actually silver. So you've got gold and silver there. In the bottom corner there, it's like a hologram. It says 5. You can see 5, yeah? If you tilt it, it says pounds. £5. That is so clever. £5. I've just brought you into the Central Museum in Southend-On-Sea, and these are all Roman finds from around the area. That really interests me, that lovely Roman figurine there. These all come from the castle I've just taken you to, from Hadley Castle. So these like 14th century, 13th century, all glass pots and things. But this place, Rayleigh Castle, I've never heard of. And these come from Rayleigh Castle. I've just tried to look it up on the internet, I can't find it. The pier is 1.34 miles long, which is ridiculous. And to be honest with you, on this lens, you can't even see the end of it. I'll show you it on the other lens. It is so long. They've even got a train to take you to the end of the pier. It's amazing, absolutely amazing. So I'll quickly run through the facts of the pier, okay? They built it in 1829, simply because it's so shallow here. Boats wouldn't stop in Southend. This is like in 1800. They'd go straight past Southend and go to the next port where it was deeper water and easier to dock the ships, basically. So that's what they did, and Southend says, well, we want them to stop here, we want them to stop here. So in 1929 they says, well, let's build a pier, a really long pier, and get them to stop here. So they built this pier, but it was only like half of the length it is now, out of wood, in 1829. And they quickly realised they didn't make it long enough. Boats still couldn't come and dock here. It was still too shallow, was the water. So they kept extending it, and they made it a lot longer, and it became the longest pier in Europe. And now it is the longest pier in the world. I'm just on the water's edge here, and I can see three things which have been washed up at the sea, and I thought we'd examine them together. I don't know what that is. It's like a camping box. I don't know. You've got a buoy there. Now that is pretty cool. If I wasn't going home, if I was going home tonight, I'd take that home with me. That is really quite cool. And a bit further on, there's something else, big and red. I don't know what that is. Maybe someone, you know, maybe it's like a life support, you know, one of these dinghy things where your boat crashes, so you have to get on one of them. There's things popping up on this shoreline. Maybe there were a big accident out there. Maybe someone needs help. I don't know. I can't help them. I can't swim that far, I'll be honest with you. I'm not a very good swimmer. It's not all gone smoothly over all them years. They've had lots of fires. 1931, as I say, there's a train which takes you all the way on, because it's so long, 1.34 miles or something. There's a guy who fell off the train, and the train ran over him and killed him. That was in 1931. 1939, there was a big fire. A lot of the pier set on fire. 1976 was a big fire, which is more well recorded because it's more recent. And the firemen who were on the pier, where's the pier? Can you even see the pier? It is there, honestly, it's there. It's there. You just can't see it on this lens. In 1976, they were trying to put out the fire with the firemen, and there was like a shooting range. You know, they'll have had little air rifles or something to shoot, you know, a fun attraction. And the firemen were trying to put it out, and all the bullets started going off. Whatever they were, bullets, air pistols, I don't know. All the bullets started exploding, so the firemen had to jump over into the sea, away from danger, basically. It were a dangerous time, 1976. Not a good time to be a fireman. in Southport, in Southend-On-Sea.
You have an amazing necklace there, which is from the Saxon times, and that's made from glass and amber beads. And the big blue one there, if you see that, that's from the Roman period. And these are all Saxon objects. I think, I might be wrong, but I'm sure I showed you that in a museum last week. The actual one, there's a picture of it there. But down here we've got a Saxon sword.
I've just met a guy who's walking on the beach. And where are you from again?
Hello, I'm Slovakia.
Slovakia. Can you remember I did videos in Slovakia? I was metal detecting in Slovakia. Loved the place. He's from Slovakia and he's just walking on the beach here. And he's a lovely guy, But he didn't stop there. Oh no, 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 no. There was another fire in 1995. Bowling alley. There was a bowling alley on the pier and that set on fire as well. It's not had a lot of luck. And then in 2005 a pub set on fire. Someone dropped a cigarette. It was about quarter to 11 at night. I know this as a fact. Quarter to 11 at night, someone dropped a cigarette and it went through like the floorboardy things and burnt the pub. So lots of fires, lots of tragedy. Only one death as far as I'm aware, and that's the guy who fell underneath the train back in 1931. It's a very gravelly beach. It wouldn't be too bad. It wouldn't be too bad if it wasn't so windy, you know? The wind drives me crazy. Another ball top. I've got a couple of other interesting facts for you. Southend was one of the first places to ever get bombed in England by the Germans in World War I. And another really interesting fact is the film Goldfinger, the James Bond film, it was filmed here. Oh yes, Southend-On-Sea. Honestly, lots of history.
This is quite special. That's a ventriloquist's dummy from the what did I just read? It's called Bertie, from the 1880s.
You clearly want some more facts. I've got many, honestly. I can give you more. The first ever pleasure park was here. You know, like you have Disneyland and things like that, and you go to the seaside and they have these roller coasters and things. This place had the first one ever, back in the 1800s, I believe. But it's not there now. It's in my hand. Piece of aluminium, melted aluminium. And people keep saying, why do we have all this melted aluminium on the English coast? It's basically, it's quite simply part from World War II, parts of World War II planes which have fallen, ships. It's just little fragments, tiny little fragments, like millimetres long, of World War II debris, basically. And all you guys who are metal detecting in America and finding gold rings and coins and no rubbish, you're very, very, very lucky. Please don't think I'm just a really rubbish person at metal detecting. I am, but I have my moments, you know. I do well sometimes, but on this coast, which I will be leaving soon, it's full of this rubbish. It's full of tiny pieces of aluminium, just absolute junk.
I don't know if there's any ladies out there who have heard of Bibber. Bibber do like makeup and perfumes and clothing from the mid-1970s. There's the logo. Does anyone recognise it? What the hell am I doing in a museum full of lotions and makeup and cosmetics? I've ended up in here. I have always found these fascinating pyrite. Cluster of cubes found in Spain. Surely they don't find them looking like that. Can someone, geologist Sam, resident geologist, can you tell me? Or have they been carved? You got gypsum up here, that looks pretty weird. All these strange quartz. I know quartz, that's what Superman used to go after. This is art made out of wire. Clothes and suits and things. Made out of, yeah, it's wire. It's just wire. Wire made into suits.
So it's time to bring you up to date on how our charity is doing, Rays of Sunshine. This is how much money we have raised, you have raised, for Rays of Sunshine so far. Bing! Look at that, look at that, look at that. This is how much money we've raised in the last 24 hours. Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? Bing! That is fantastic, guys. We're back on form. We're getting back to what we were getting in the past. We had a bit of a ditch in the last, like 5 days. Partly my fault for not mentioning the charity, but the donations have come in the last 24 hours, so thank you very, very much. Please consider donating. You will make wishes come true for seriously ill and terminally ill children. So this is what the trip's all about. Please do so. Thank you very much. Well, I'll tell you something for nothing. I might not have found much on Southend Beach, but I've really enjoyed it. To say it is supposedly full of druggies and heroin addicts and needles, and it's not a very nice place. I think I might have missed them places out. I think I've just come to the good place, which is the beach, next to the pier. You can't beat that. You can't beat that view. It's beautiful. Thank you very much for joining me today. Tomorrow we're going to, well, I'm staying at a manor house or something, and he's got some permission. Basically, I'm going to be detecting in a field, and I can't wait for 2 days. So join me tomorrow. Thanks for joining me today, guys. See you all later on Digging the Coast 365, day 41. I love you all. Bye bye.
Well, I've just been to 2 museums, okay. The first one was alright and I could record in there, but then there were like a room, it was rubbish. It was free to enter though, so you can't complain. It was rubbish. There were like a couple of things worth looking at, and then I went into another room and it were all Bebe. B-E-B-E. Apparently it were a big like makeup and perfume and clothing and washing powder company from like 1971-ish onwards. And I spoke to a ginger guy who was working at the museum. He was 31 years old and he was telling me all about makeup and stuff. I really got very bored, but I couldn't just walk out. I just had to keep talking to him. We talked about gollywogs, on packaging and how it was racist, and we didn't even know it was racist at the time. And anyway, it was rubbish. On my way back to my car, I passed another museum, free to enter, so I thought I'll give this one a go. An art museum. It was full of art. And I went in and I looked at a couple of things, and I took one little tiny video, something rubbish. And then I went up to reception and says, can I film this? Can I take photography? No, you can't do photography. And I thought, well, what the hell am I doing in here? I'm just looking at art. It was just art. It was like, there were people made out of straw. There were drawings and, pencil drawings and things like paintings and sculptures of really rubbish things, and it was rubbish. It was really rubbish. So I'm glad I wasn't allowed to film in there. But what I'm not happy about is I've just wasted 2 hours when I could have been on the beach metal detecting. Gutted. What a waste of time. What a waste of time, honestly. I'm near Southend. Don't go to any museums near Southend. They're rubbish. They're all rubbish.
I've not found sod all. There's nothing. I think I've dug up 20 signals, and I'm not exaggerating, all 20 signals were bottle tops. Bottle tops from beer. Not the best place to metal detect. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm going to go. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. We're going into some fields for 2 days. So join me then. I can't wait. But I need to get off this beach right now because I'm dying for a wee. See you tomorrow on Digging the Coast 365.